One Piece chapter 1140. Let's talk about it. First off, how we feeling? Back after a well-deserved break week. I hope everyone got to stretch and get some air. I've been sort of snowed in, but it hasn't been too bad. In that time, I've been able to binge a great series on Apple TV by the name of The Last Days of Tom Lee Gray. It stars Samuel L. Jackson and Dominique Fishback. It's a great story. They have great chemistry. I definitely cried a couple times when my company left the room. I highly recommend you check it out, and if you do, let me know how you feel about it. Maybe we can compare notes, but without further ado, let's get to the chapter. As usual, we start with the cover page. We continue our mission around Who's base, and it's revealed they have my top 2 girl Oti in their clutches. They have her in some sort of pinwheel situation. They've been throwing knives and such at her from a distance, just having a good old time. Her brother Page One is most likely somewhere locked up, and I think Yamato may end up swaying them to come to their side. I can see that happening. They can't hold all of them back, so I know at some point there'll be a clash, and I just can't wait to see it. And then moving on, we start things off where they ended last time. Scopper Gabon has been revealed as the mysterious figure who was waiting for us on the shores of Elbaf oh so many chapters ago. He's currently challenging Luffy and Zoro to a duel over the key that they need to free Loki from his whole underworld exile thing. But before the clash starts, Zoro is weary and he starts recalling the giant child Colin describing his father's main attributes. And before he can get a word to Luffy, he's reaching for Gabon and he gets crossed like a bad game of street ball. Luffy realizes he doesn't have the best defense, so he starts telling Gabon, can you just give it to us, because the sooner we can free him, the sooner we can get back to our whole party thing. But Gabon's not a slouch, so Luffy decides to reach again, but this time he gets punished with a hockey coated key attack from Gabon himself. Just straight up flattens Luffy, and I reacted to this the same way Smokey and Craig did in Friday. The whole thing gave me Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts vibes. I think it was really cool. And then we get Gabon commenting on Luffy's straw hat on the last panel of the page. He says it suits him better than the helmet that he's wearing. I guess he thinks he should put it on, and I guess it's because obviously he remembers it. But that's when Luffy rebuttals like, thanks, it's a treasure from Shanks, he's letting me hold it. Then we get the snarky remark from Gabon saying, oh, he's only letting you hold it? What a cheapskate. So Luffy turns up and now he's really ready to fight for the key. But he got punished again. Gabon just straight up weaves, puts the key in Luffy's mouth on some crazy and just kicks him to the ground. Very disrespectful like. He then follows up revealing 2 giant twin axes on some G, and Luffy is terrified. Zoro yells for him to dodge in a similar fashion. Big Mom yelled for Kaido to dodge when Zoro was going for his neck back in Wano when he cut the horn off of Onigashima. I think that was very pleasant to see. He ends up going so crazy he manages to cut through the castle, and we cut to this wide shot of them falling out of the air. It's epic. We get a look at Nami and Roto. They're scared as they descend, and then we get the coolest panel I think we've gotten of Luffy and Zoro in a while. They're squaring up with Gabon, but the difference is Luffy's in gear 5th with the horns from his helmet becoming his hair, so they're white too and just sticking up, and it just looks epic, yo. Gabon recalls hearing about Gear 5th before, and I'm pretty sure anybody associated with Roger probably has a lot of relevant knowledge that could probably help Luffy understand and come to grips with his fruit more if he wanted to, but we all know he's okay with just being himself. We get another wide shot of them falling for perspective, and that's when Zoro is telling Luffy to brace for impact because it's about to get started. And then in true comedic anime fashion, Gabon just gives up right before the clash. He really didn't want smoke. He just had to know they were strong enough to carry the burden of what this key is about to do. He points out the key has been next to Luffy right behind him this whole time, and I thought that was a cool sleight of hand. We then get Roto about to explain who Gaban is to Luffy and Roto, but he tells him, yo, chill, let him figure it out, no spoilers. If you guys are still here by the time you leave and Elbaf is still a safe place, come and find me, I'll give you more lore, pretty much. And then he leaves, and I thought that was pretty cool. You know, a lot like a PlayStation 2 game, and we're just continuing the story. And then we get a quick flashback to what looks like Shanks and Gaban orchestrating this whole moment. So I think Shanks knew they'd pull up at some point, crazy, and knew they'd come for the key, crazy. So he just made it easier and told Gaban to test him, because he wasn't just gonna give it up so easy. And I feel like Shanks is gonna be a lot more relevant later on as the arc proceeds. And I feel like he may even spin the block on Elbaf, but we'll see. And after that, we jump to another part of Elbaf where Ange, the giant librarian, is in the middle of teaching a class to her students. They point out a weird looking thing in the sky that looks like an odd shaped bird. That's when we get a cut to the God's Knights, Gunko and Shamrock, who I'm referring to as Rock and Bandage Lady. They're pretty much doing recon. They land and they're about to summon their teammates, and this whole thing made me think of that scene from Naruto Shippuden when Pain's about to summon the other 6 of himself before they get it cracking. I mean, the other 5 of himself with Naruto. So I thought that was pretty cool, a nice callback. Even had like the weird shaped bird that one of the Pain summoned. I thought that was pretty cool. I've seen some folks in the community say they don't trust Ange. They think she may have been like secret intel for the God's Knights, but seeing her perspective, I'm not too sure, but I'll hold judgment because she could be an op. I don't doubt it, but I don't think she is. I don't think there may be too many secret ops in the Elbaf. I definitely knew York was an op because you just don't let nobody come in your house and not say nothing. But the Straw Hats have introduced themselves to everyone as far as I know. So I don't know who'd want to betray them, but it's One Piece, so we'll see. Bandage Lady and Rock land, and when I was reading, the whole tone just took a sinister shift. She sticks her hands up and starts to summon their teammates out of the giant summoning circle that we learn is called the Abyss, and that only those with a certain mark can cross through it, which is why eventually they'll say they have to take the kids that they're plotting on, which is crazy. They have to take them away by ship because they're not marked and they just can't go through the summoning circle. We see Black Lightning strike, the same as it's always been from the jump, back on Egghead when the 5 elders arrived. And we get 2 more knights who appear in silhouette fashion. We all know Oda loves his silhouettes. One's more of a awakened dragon, I guess, wearing a bubble helmet that the celestial dragons are known for wearing, and one's just a middle-aged guy. He looks like a surfer, like he wants to be on a beach. That's where he needs to be with his Uncle Max shorts. Yeah, I'm not knocking their designs. I'm a big fan of dragons, so I can't wait to see what bubblehead guy does. Saint Quillingham, who I'm going to identify as Quill, and Saint Summers, who I'm just gonna call Summers for short. They're just as confused as they are when they arrive, because I guess it was hasty in the moment or they weren't too prepared, and I think that broke the tension for me because I didn't know how they were gonna react. But seeing them so goofy so soon, it was like okay, I can breathe now. They're not gonna cause any immediate damage. So that was pretty nice. I like finding things out with characters, like how we're gonna find out more about Low-Key and Shanks with Luffy. We get to find out about Elbaf through these characters. They get acquainted and up to speed with their teammates on the mission, but Rock only needed one person. That's when Quill tells him that he's been summoned back to the Holy Land because the situation is dire and they need his help. That's when he decides before he goes, he's gonna try to make a game out of gathering the children they need, and I think that's pretty messed up. It reminds me of the game his dad played back at the Reverie when Kuma was a kid, so who knows what's gonna happen next. But with everything that happened, it was definitely a banger. I'm glad we got the clash we did. I'm ready to see the clashes to come. It feels like we're not stopping anytime soon at all. I'm all in. I'm ready to see what Oda's got. How'd you guys feel about it? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe. See you guys next week. Peace.